Now, Bernie Sanders' National Press Secretary, Brianna Joy Gray, was recently on CNN defending the frontrunner's refusal to release some so-called medical records or additional medical records that a lot of people in the establishment have been calling for. And here's she makes an interesting comparison between the calls for those medical records and something else that other people have called for. Take a look.
I don't think we will release any more medical records. I have those 3 letters from the doctors that Senator Sanders was talking about. There's nothing in them other than the doctor saying that he's fit. He had a heart attack.
Yeah, well,
he had a heart attack in the fall. Do you think the American people deserve to know more about his health going forward?
I think that the American people deserve to know exactly as much as every other candidate has released in this race currently and historically. And what you're seeing right now is really reminiscent of some of the kind of smear, kind of skepticism campaigns that have been run against a lot of different candidates in the past, questioning where they're from, aspects of their lineage, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really telling, given that none of the same concern is being demonstrated for Michael Bloomberg, who's the same age as Bernie Sanders, who has suffered heart attacks in the past. And what we're seeing is a kind of smear campaign from the likes of Jennifer Rubin is one that's been beating this drum a lot. Republicans who, if they were honest with themselves, don't support Bernie Sanders for other reasons, largely for the same reasons that millions of working Americans do support Bernie.
All right, so now in it, you heard that she said, "Well, hey, look, Bloomberg has had some heart attacks as well." Well, that turns out to be not true, right? And so what happened is that mainstream media immediately, everyone flipped out. How dare you lie about Bloomberg? It's not the same. And then, additionally, they go after her reference to birtherism. Now, I think that if you take out the racial undertones in birtherism and you look at, what they're demanding, we're demanding proof. We want document upon document upon document to make sure that you are healthy enough to run for president of the United States. Well, just follow him around as he goes from rally to rally to rally, state to state to state. I mean, seriously, you can't keep up with the guy. But that is not enough. They want to see even more medical records, which, by the way, Sanders released three documents here from doctors saying that he was fit and in good health after the stents. But no, it's not enough. Not enough. They must have more. They must have full medical records, which that's not even really a thing, right? It's not something at least that you can release to the public, especially since you have things like privacy and HIPAA laws. And so it's pretty ridiculous. And it does remind me a lot, without the racial component, of people asking Obama for his birth certificate. And so her point that she makes is absolutely valid, right? And I think it's a similar tactic. No one who's asking for Bernie's medical records is somebody who's considering supporting Bernie Sanders anyway. She pointed out Jennifer Rubin, who is a bad faith actor, who's a Bernie Sanders critic, and by the way, a Republican strategist. Or you have people like Tom Watson, who's Bernie Sanders anti-Bernie troll. Basically, people who hate Bernie Sanders and are desperate to not have him become the Democratic nominee. These are the same people that are now out there going after a woman of color, Brianna Joy Gray, and saying, "How dare you compare this to Obama? It's not the same. It's not the same." But wait, same principle. The whole purpose was to cast doubt. Oh no, he's not healthy, so he's ineligible. Oh, he wasn't born in America, he's not eligible. Either way, he's not eligible to run. So he just needs to get out, to bow out, and let someone that we want run in their place. Now, look, if Bernie Sanders was struggling to talk, was struggling to breathe, if he was lugging around oxygen tanks and, especially pale, and you could tell if somebody's not in good health sometimes by just looking at them, right? I would see their point. I would. And even though I like Bernie Sanders, I would say, hey, maybe we should think about somebody who's a little bit healthier. He's not looking so good. Maybe he shouldn't be running for president, right? Instead, what he's doing is he looks healthy. I've seen him in person. I seen him at a recent rally. Yes, that's after he got the stents put in. He was energetic. He looked fantastic. And he had been running all over the country, did not look tired whatsoever. And so I'm starting to wonder, like, what is this even about? Because it doesn't seem to be about his health. It doesn't seem to be about somebody who actually, or people who actually care about how this man is doing, right? And so it's not about his health. It's about what can they do to sow doubt in people's minds. Oh, well, he's 78 years old. Well, Bloomberg is the same age. Bloomberg hasn't had a heart attack. That's true, but he has had stents put in. He has atrial fibrillation, which is just an irregular heartbeat. That's nothing to really worry about. I'm not worried about Bloomberg's health. I'm not worried about Bernie's health. They both seem to be in pretty good health. I'm worried about Trump's mental health because he seems to be melting down in real time, maybe from all the hamburgers and, fries and Diet Cokes. But Bernie Sanders and Michael Bloomberg, again, seem to be in pretty good health, seem to take pretty good care of themselves, especially Bloomberg, since, he's wealthy and can afford all the best medicine and all that. And so whatever, right? But again, they're trying to sow this or create this narrative, and it's effective. And yeah, I mean, again, a lot like the birtherism movement in a way. Any day now, Trump's going to come back with the documents that prove Obama is ineligible because he's not a citizen. Any day, Bernie Sanders is going to release his medical records, and then we're going to find out that he's super unhealthy. Wait, what? Or that he's lying about it, because what exactly do they hope to find in these records anyway? What do they hope to find? Guy's healthier than I am. So I don't understand. The one mistake that Brianna made, and she had come back and she said, whoops, yeah, I made a mistake when I said that on air, is that, again, she made she confused the procedure used on Bloomberg or what had happened, saying he had a heart attack. He didn't. But the procedure was he did get some stents, so that was correct. But the overall point is 100% correct, is that no one else is facing questions about their medical records, despite other candidates having at one time, just like all of us, health issues. Biden had a blood clot, brain aneurysm, which, by the way, he released in a medical report, just like the ones Bernie Sanders had released, without going through the detailed medical records that they're asking for. That would be a HIPAA violation. They just released, hey, doctor's statement says Biden's pretty healthy. He's fit to run. Great. Same thing with Bernie Sanders. Same thing with everyone. Now, Trump's a little bit different. And I know they love to say, well, what Bernie Sanders is doing is Trumpian. No, Trumpian is going and making your doctor forge something, right? And to say, and actually, no, what's Trumpian is writing it out yourself, giving it to the doctor and say, sign this. Well, what does it say? Oh, it says I am in the best. Donald Trump is in the bestest shape ever and is tremendously healthy. All right, good enough. That's Trumpian, right? Bernie Sanders didn't do that. There's no evidence of that. And so it just seems like a ridiculous attack. Okay. And so, look, Gray, again, she corrected herself because she cares about facts. I care about facts. She said Bloomberg had a stent procedure back in 2000, added that Bernie released the 3 detailed medical reports, just like the other candidates. And so that's why I'm not worried. Now, one thing this also reminds me of, other than birtherism, is, again, without the racial component, right, is when Hillary Clinton fainted. And a bunch of people, many from the right, some even from the left, let's be honest, they went crazy over it. We did not on this show. I didn't. I was like, okay, yeah, that happens. But some of the response was, oh my God, what happened? She's got Parkinson's. No, that's ridiculous. No, the right wing, of course, took this to crazy land and came up with conspiracies that Hillary Clinton died and that's her body double, which is insane, or just a body double because she's deathly ill. It's just insane stuff. Leave it to Republicans to go completely off the rails, right? And that's the more extreme version of this. Again, this is being promoted by Republican strategists, people like Jennifer Rubin, right? And so that's why Gray addressed that and called her out by name, which I thought was pretty fantastic. But you can see the mainstream media, they're making this a big issue because, nothing else seems to work. The constant attacks on, Bernie Sanders fans, the bros, right? That falls flat because it's not at all true. He's not a Democrat. That didn't work, especially since Bloomberg is also not a Democrat. So now notice how they're no longer using that attack, right? So now they go to, he's not healthy. He's not healthy. He should release he's refusing to release his health records. There must be something in there. No, it's ridiculous. It's a super desperate move for super desperate defenders of the status quo. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.